There we go. I'm doing some changing in technology since it's the end of the season and it's time to experiment with goofing up our broadcast. Welcome. Yeah, if you need the sheet music, you pop on over to jollyrogerukulele.com. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. And then, let's see, Jolly Roger, logo, tweet, and then let's post the link over on our website, link to join, Jink, Command V. We're going to be playing Red Red Wine, Sweet Caroline, and Piano Man today. By playing it means we're not really going to play it, we're going to study it so we can play it next week. We played these once when we created them, and I think that's the last time I looked at them. So I haven't even looked at them. So I'm teaching a class I am unprepared for this morning, but hopefully I've wrote them well enough that it makes sense to me. All right, let me make sure the link is working correctly. Click here, and it opens up correctly, and I have us on Twitter. And I have 2 notifications on Twitter. Yes. All right. So that's sweet. And then Vic is in. Sound is good. So, all right. So, Vic, I need your honest to gosh opinion. As our resident sound engineer. 1, I am using my old laptop because I can leave it set up. The challenge with the old laptop is that the fan runs a lot. So I need to know if you can hear the fan buzzing in the background. So probably you're going to hear it a little bit. I need to know if it's a lot. Second, I've switched from our fancy microphone to this microphone because I can just leave it set up in here and I don't have to mess around with anything. And then, so I need to know how the sound, both voice and the sound of the fan in the background is. And then third, I'm switching to a wide angle camera, and which means that it shows more than I really want it to, but not so much for ukulele, but for guitar, it should be better. And then I think, nope, goes the other way. Where am I? How do I get the middle of this? Yeah, that's good enough. We're going to grab ukuleles. So give me some feedback on the sound and the video and all that stuff. These cameras are a lot fussier with lighting, and so I noticed last night when I was goofing with it that the darks were much darker and the lights were much lighter, so the contrast is a little crazy. Let's see. You can hear a little bit of a buzz, okay, but not bad. I can hear the fan, and the new mic seems good. Okay, so yeah, this is a mic that I put away years ago because it was, I don't even remember why I decided I hated it. And all right, if I go here and we get rid of the watering bucket for the humidifier, and we put this, I can put this over here. I don't need that at the ready. And then, how about that? No. Yeah, get out of that picture. How about that? Look at that. Look at me. Ta-da! All right. Wide angle works fine. All right. I'll put something over here funny. How about that? We'll do that. All right. So I posted minutes ago the sheet music we're going to work on this week. All 3 are world classic tunes. And I'm only going to leave them on the front page through today's lesson, and then I'll put them back over on the members section. Linda, good morning. 45 degrees. Sunshine on the way up in British Columbia. We need that. Okay, so this sounds pretty good this morning. Let's go take a look at our sheet music, shall we? Jink, jink. It didn't turn upside down. You ever have that where you're like, okay, it'll turn over. It'll turn, and you're staring at it upside down going, nah, it'll be fine. Don't, just trust me. Apple Corporation would not design something that does something weird. All right, let's go here, scroll down. All right, so let's take a look at Red Wine first. Let me go, whoops, close that, share this, put in Foursquare. All right, so what I recall, Neil Diamond wrote it, but UB40 made it famous, and so it is a lovely song. And as I'm looking through it, I'm like, oh, dang, this is pretty sweet. There's not a ton of really challenging stuff here. One bar chord that shows up quite a bit. Outside of that, it's pretty wide open, right? And so when we studied this initially, and especially if you are on either baritone or you want to work on your chords, we talked about boom chucking, which is you're going to hold the chord and then it's boom chuck, 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 and that way you get first it's a red, no, it's red wine. Go to my head, make me forget that I still need her so. Right, so that's the purpose of the boom chuck line. Is to we actually physically wrote it out, and this was what last year, trying to figure out how can we make our chords sound cooler, right? And especially if you're on baritone, you just hold your chord and pluck that bottom string, boom, chuck, and then pluck the bottom 3 strings. I only give you 3 strings in this boom chuck because on high G we have this high string on the top, and sometimes it can sound a little wanky if you use that as your boom, but if you use the lower string, boom, it usually works. So that's that line there. That's why that's there. And if you don't know the tune, 1, go listen to it on MP3, and 2, for sure go listen to this on YouTube. Both Neil Diamond and UB40 have pretty fun versions of this. So talking chords, C chord, baritones, yours looks like that, right? D minor for ukulele, it's your F chord, add your ring finger. Dun-dun. And if you're on baritone, it looks like that. And that's Sandy's favorite shape in all of ukulele. And then ukulele F chord is here. Baritones, you have a bar chord to make your F chord. It's a bar and then your E shape in front of it. Okay. Is that all the chords? Oh, over at measure 25, we have a couple of other chords. So you have an A minor 7 ukulele, right? Just straight up. Probably what I would do on baritone, it's your A minor shape, right, which is the D minor shape on ukulele, and then you add your pinky up on 3. Sometimes that works, right? Sometimes putting the pinky up on 3 makes your A minor 7 sound cool. Sometimes this is too much, and so then I might just play a regular A minor there. And same ukulele, your D minor 7th looks exactly the same as their A minor 7. So, since the melody goes up higher on the fretboard, that's probably going to work just fine as substitutes. I think that's it, right? I think that's all your chords. I don't know if I mentioned G chord is in there. G, right? That should be standard issue for you guys. Baritone, your G's right there. All right, let's give it a try. We'll go crazy slow. So in case that nothing, so if anything pops up that I don't remember, I'll pretend like I know what I'm doing. Okay. So from the top, 2-beat count in. I'm going to play the Tuff uke really slow. Okay. And then anything that if there's something fancy pops up, we'll stop and talk about it. Be ready for a bar on 5. That's the only thing I see in this that you're going to need to be ready for. Okay. And remember, with bars, you're supposed to be warming up with your daily bar exercise, right? You're not, but you're supposed to. Okay. And if your bar is this, okay, that's going to happen. It's going to happen to me today, probably, right? Right. You just go on. Like, that's how I meant to play my bar today, and be confident. Let my honesty about bars sink into your soul. They will get better. But even when you're good at them, you're still going to have some dead notes from time to time, and you just can't lose sleep over it. All right, let's get this intro going from the top, very slow. 1, 2, 3, 2. Here's where you add your bar. Add the bar. Let it ring for a little bit. Pinky. Bar. Okay. Okay, fermata, and then go. Whoops. And then with that, remember at 35, and you want to mark it on your paper, grab your highlighter, okay, put the yellow part on, put a line, a yellow line at the front of 35, because that's where you have to make your decision, right? You don't care about the repeat itself, but you do care at 35, you're going to have to make a decision. And then I always tell you, put it on all forward repeats, okay? That's at 19, because your eyeball is going to track magically to number 1 unless you have already put a yellow highlighter at 19, and then your eye's like, oh yeah, I go to 19 and I don't go to number 1. These days, often I will write, if it's a complicated repeat, I will write to number 19 on at measure 35. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. I have that written on all my sheet music from school. I have, go to number such and such, and then I never follow that advice, right? But the yellow really does, the yellow highlighter really does help me track my eye better. So let's talk about some of the things I saw on here, and maybe a few of the things that you saw that are kind of interesting. So one, I think playing it that slow is 100% fine. This is a sad guy who's drank too much wine, right? UB40 turned this into dun 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 junk, right? And so you can do it either way, but I like it slow. And Neil Diamond does it slow. The second thing I noticed was we have some triplets. So let's talk about how to do those and how I screwed it up the first time through and then figured out, oh, I'm going to do those. Those sound cool. So go to the top of the song. You've got 3, 2, and then it's just a nice C chord, right? Starting off with great. Now this one's going to take a little bit of work. Most of you are probably fine with it. Getting your D chord on and then adding your pinky. Anytime you have a chord that's this big, you want to get it, if possible, on an order going down. Now, I say that, this is what you're supposed to do, and here's what I do, right? I always plant my index finger and then put the rest of the chord on, because I feel very comfortable about getting this to home base, and then everything else will jump on. But ideally, if you're strumming down, you have some time to get your pinky planted before your thumb gets there. So, right? So if you're having a hard time getting all the things on in proper timing, plan on doing a nice down strum and middle, ring, index, pinky, and look at how much time you have to get everybody on. Okay, now that's one way of thinking. That's the classical way of thinking about it. The fingerstyle way of thinking is get this planted at its home base. It's all, and my index finger is very reliable of knowing where it's supposed to be on a chord. This guy's going to jump on, and that gives me 3 strings before I actually have to get my pinky planted, which will be the challenge, right? I do want to take just a brief, I want to share with you something. I have studied classical guitar at the university level now for 1 year. And so the one thing I learned, which I think is really important, that I used to always teach, hey, your finger should be in this nice violin position, right? But you can see right away where the challenge is. Look how stretched out my pinky is. And because I've done this for years, I got kind of a weak knuckle here. And so it has a tendency to get even worse and be straight. Now I get away with that on ukulele because things are fairly close. But as you get into bigger, meaner chords, that's not necessarily always going to be the case. So think about, okay, here's your A minor shape. Just pull it down just a little bit, right? Try to get these a little more vertical, not violin direction, but more this direction, okay? And that means that your pinky is now in a much better rounded shape. I don't know, I can't figure out how to hold that where you can see it. Like that. But we're looking for a nice rounded shape on your pinky, okay? It's a lot more powerful and strong position, and you can do a lot more. You're going to end up doing some trills and stuff with this eventually. And so having a nice, pretty pinky. And the only way to do it, if you're doing this too much, you'll stretch your pinky out weird. And so if you just drop it, make sure you're not chicken winging it ever, but that your arm is, this is nice and straight. This is sort of down here, not up against your body, but not way out either, right? And mostly gravity is doing the job. And try to get these fingers a little more vertical. You don't need them this way because you can't get the chord on, right? And then everything feels all backward. But just a little bit more vertical. I think that should help you get those A minor, or in this case, D minor shape on. D minor shape. Now, the one thing I goofed up right off the bat, measure 2. Look at it, you got a beautiful triplet. Now remember, we're taking go to my head. That go to my is 3 notes in the space of 2. And one of the things I don't talk about nearly enough is, hey, beats are different than notes. And so in this song, we have 4 beats in every measure. And in this case, there's 4 notes in there. And so you get this crazy in your head that, oh, there's 4 notes, 4 beats, so I'll just do one on each beat. But that's not how it's written. You got 2 beats on that first note, which is the half note, and then you've got to squish 3 notes in the space of 2, which in music always sounds super cool. Triplets are the secret to making you sound cool. Red, red wine, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Go to my head, right? So you're fitting in those 3. 3 monkey, 1. And so I think at school we kind of 1 triplet, 2 triplet. Right, in this case, but I like monkeys better, or King Kongs on quarter note triplets. 1, 1, 2, 3, King Kong, 1. Right, and the other thing about triplets is make sure not to linger on the last one before you jump into the next measure. So it's not go to my head, right? You don't want to do that. Go to my head. You want to go. The 4th note in a triplet is the important one. It's the one after the triplet. Go to my head, right? Dun 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 dun, and then you can start a new count. We're working on a guitar song with a guitar group, and there's tons of triplets in it, and pretty much every triplet they're doing that. I've got where I just like, oh, well, that's how we're going to play it. It sounds cool, but you're not supposed to, right? And the other thing I did is I saw 5, and I put my pinky on 5, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, I got 7 and 8. Now I got to chase my pinky there, and that's not what you want either. After you get, at measure 2, after you get that D minor done, index finger on 5. And then look how nice everything else lays out, and your 7, your bar chord on, or your open chord on 7, you already have your finger sitting there. And then you can also add that bar on. Okay, so that whole little section there from the middle of measure 2 to the beginning of measure 4 should all be in 5th position. Okay, and that will make sure that you feel like I'm in charge of this thing. All right, now then everything else is just standard issue stuff, right? So those I don't think anything else here is particularly fancy. I would say one of the challenges in measure 4, and it comes up several times, right? You've done your bar chord, and then you have 3, 5, 3, and then another high chord, and I'm like, well, I could either do an 8, so replace those 3s with 8s. If you're feeling comfortable with higher up the next up, that's what you should do. Okay, so at measure 4, you do your bar chord, and then instead of going down to grab the 3, just leave your bar where it's at and use an 8 on the 2nd string, right? If you have a decent ukulele, if you have a $50 ukulele, I would go for 3, 5, 3. But if your ukulele is like, you know what, this is a pretty good ukulele, you should be fine playing higher up the neck on the 2nd string. Last week, some of you guys heard me in orchestra. The high G, or low G players had changed some fingering, and they had a 13 here. Well, that's fine if you have a $1,000 ukulele, even a $500 ukulele. But if you're playing on a $200 ukulele, that's maybe not going to sound that great. And it sounded terrible when they did it. And I could hear that because we have a mixture of different level players and different level ukuleles in there. And of course, the leaders of the group all have these super expensive ukuleles that are like, oh, just do that. And I think they were even on the 3rd string, right? This is a pretty decent ukulele, and it's already struggling, right? 13 is not a great place to play. And so sometimes you think, oh, I'll just play it on a higher fret on a lower string, but that doesn't always work. And so so I would probably, in this case, do this bar chord, and then 8, 8, 5, 8, and then I still can get to my open 7, and now I go down. But for many of you, that's not going to sound great, and so then you just do your bar at measure 4. You're going to do that fancy bar, and then go grab the 3, and then just use your pinky on the 7. Okay. So those are decisions you kind of make based on your skill level and your ukulele quality. If I was playing one of my little $50 Mahalo ones, I probably would still play an 8, but that's because I've been doing this a really long time. I know how to actually get it on there and handle that string very carefully. Most people would be like, no, it's going to come out as a clank. And so it's partly skill, partly ukulele, right? Now that covers the whole section, right? It just repeats there. So then let's move on to page 2. I saw a few kind of fun things there. When you get to measure 21, okay, again, this beautiful bar chord F on 8, and then a lot of times I'll just squish my pinky down, right, and a lot of times I'll add my ring finger. I think either choice there is acceptable. Probably more officially correct to use hit the bar 5, 8, and then change it ring finger to the 7, and just leave this bar planted. And again, you have a 3 on the 1st string. These days, I'd probably put that as an 8 on the 2nd string. Because I don't have to do as much motion that way. Finally, measures 25 into 26, right? That's sort of the end of the bridge section. And so you really want that to be nice, right? Just one thing makes me forget, right? So you're going to come in, dum, 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 dum. That's actually an F minor 7. And then your beautiful G chord here. And that 2 is just doing no work at all, right? Bong. Its real job is to create some tension. And then you get going. So that section there, it requires you to be thoughtful and mindful of how you're going to attack the strings. Okay, so if I come in, ding, right, and not really caring about the tone quality, I've missed the message of the moment in the song. And as you guys are high level players, yeah, good point. The fourth triplet. Yeah, when you have your triplet, don't stop at the end of the triplet. It's kidding, right? Here's a triplet. 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 3. That's the triplet. Get on to that fourth note. Now, at your guys' level, you're talking about storytelling. You're talking about meaningful moments in a song. This is why I don't spend a ton of time talking to you about metronomes. Yeah, when you're getting ready to perform and you're getting ready, you should, prior to performing, about a couple weeks out, you should make sure you can play all of the music on a metronome. And then you got to get rid of the metronome, because when you're playing real music, you're going to speed up and slow down in key moments. Not in ensemble. In ensemble, right? But this is why we also work on solo stuff, because you want to have some time when you are going to tell a story. And in this song, 24 into 27 tells a story, right? And I find just one thing makes me forget red wine, right? And so that's what you're trying to do there, and you would for sure slow that whole section down in my mind. So if I go from 20, the pickup into 23 into 24, and I find just, okay, I want that to be clean as all get out, really clean. Even I would probably let that cool chord ring for a minute. Jazzy chord followed by another jazzy chord. Resolution. It's not really resolved, right? We're going to G, which is the fifth. They call that a half cadence. There's music theory. I had to pay money to learn that word. Okay. That whole thing is designed to feel like right, and it's a big moment in the song, and then you're thinking, I would let my ukulele die out. And then pick up the pace again. So that moment, you can see, you can just look at the paper and you're like, that moment means something. Look at all those chords all smashed in together, fermata, all that stuff there. Really kind of a big deal at that moment. Then finally, so then the main idea repeats at 27 from the intro. Go down and let's take a look at that ending, because you see, again, a ton of chords, a ton of stuff going on there. Let's just go in. Let's go from 34. Start at 34. Okay, so I come out of 33 with this, and then an F chord, and a 36. Supposed to be finished there, it's not. Look at that cool chord. Okay, so that ending is really cool too. And again, you just look at sheet music and you're like, where's all the activity happening? That's probably a moment where I'm going to think about studying just those moments to get the best sound possible out of my instrument. And not so much out of my instrument, but out of the song, right? I'm trying to tell a story. I'm trying to make something beautiful and meaningful. And that's what I would do both at that measure 25 and then at 36. They have really cool moments. Last conversation piece, I think, is thumb down versus plucking. Okay, and what my usual advice is, do both. Go through, play the song plucking, then go through and do the song with your thumb down and see which sounds better. Okay, because if you go to strum along, you're going to do this, right? Red wine, go to my head, make me forget that I still need her. So, right, that's how you're going to do that, and that's a fun way to do it, right? Do it. You're like, yeah, that's how you play ukulele. But if you are at the next level, right, which is this level, just about 7 levels up from that. Hey, Linda, welcome in. 60 degrees. Laguna Beach, 60 degrees. The sun's just coming up, you guys. It's going to be a perfect day in Laguna Beach. I was there one time. It is perfect there. I want to fight Linda every time she says, yeah, I'm in Laguna Beach. And you're like, yeah, whatever, Linda. Good for you. I played the whole thing with my thumb, and I played it slow, right? Because I'm trying to get that blah, 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 that drunken wine feeling out of it. But if you go through and try it with you should, every single song that you guys do at your level, take some time to go back through, what would happen if I pluck this thing? Very different feeling, right? And probably, if it's me, I'm going to mix up as I go through. Some places I'm going to thumb, and some places I'm going to pluck. Or I might play the whole thing plucking the first time through, and then the whole thing strumming the second time through, something like that. But every single song that we study at this level going forward, we're going to talk about. Sometimes we do this, and sometimes we do that. And let's figure. I saw this thing sitting here. I'm like, what is that? Like, what is over there? It's a computer. Always try to double check that you know which is which. Okay, and then use them. Be in control of both of those. And be in control of both of those, so that then you have choices. Let's grab the baritone music. We're not going to work through it at that level of detail because you guys need to work on it this week. But let's go ahead and take just a moment to look at the baritone sheet. Some of you guys have baritones, and some of you would like to learn to play along with the baritones, right? Yes, you do. So let's grab the baritone version, and should be identical to the ukulele one. Since I didn't have a chance to look at this last night, I'm going to assume it's fine. All right, now on baritone, right? Everything's from a Tuff perspective is the same. From a boom check, listen how cool this is. Red, red wine, go to my head. Make me forget that I still need you so. Okay. Yay, I win, right? That's low note on baritone is really, really handy for that. And on guitar, we even add two other strings, right? So you have even more choices for your boom part of that. But you don't need all those choices, honestly. That's just extra strings that make your life sad. If you are accompanying me on ukulele, G chord, A minor chord, C chord, D chord, what's that doing in there? A minor, right? So this is your home base, right? You should be fine playing this, okay? And then we'll just run through it one time. We won't do the repeat, but just those of you with ukuleles, this gives you a chance to be thinking about, all right, I'm going to be doing accompaniment. He's probably going to play slow, probably going to be thumb down. Should I be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or should I do boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck, and just grab your shape of that chord, which you know all of these chords, and try giving me that boom chuck background. You may be like, nah, that sounds stupid, right? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, if nothing else, right? Baritone players, let's run through the Tuff uke really quick. 1, 2. chord. Go to my, it's up to you. Okay, measure 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. My sheet music up. Here we go. 1, 2. Second ending. Bum, bum, bum. Isn't that pretty? Really, really cool piece of music there. And again, another song that probably the slower you play it, the better off you are. So, so there's that. Oh, Sandy's asking how my concert went. On Wednesday night, I think it was, over at school, we had the guitar ensemble that I'm in, we had our concert. It went really well. I mean, honestly, it went really well. There was one song that I was struggling to play with the entire semester, and I continued to struggle with that through the concert. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? I guess... but the concert as a whole, I think people really enjoyed it. And there's 4 really advanced players in the program, and they did a quartet, and they did a Beethoven sonata, converted it to guitar. Just remarkable how beautiful it was. But yeah, and then the stuff we played was fine. I don't get a big charge out of performing; it's not my thing. But anyway, all right, Sweet Caroline. Let's look at let's this one's a simpler song, so let's just look at it only on ukulele, and then we can this week, those of you with baritones will study up on your own. So Sweet Caroline, ukulele style, please, and. And remember, save your sheet music now so you don't have to go into the members group section, because I'm going to take it off the front page after we're done here today. I guess you should be going in there anyway. All right, so grab the ukulele version of this. Oh, it's long. I forgot. What did I do here? Hold on. Don't run off. Book 3. That's guitar. That's why I can't find it. Ukulele. Book 3. There we go. Okay. S. Sweet. Look at how much music we have, you guys. Okay, so let's grab the ukulele version of this. And done. S. We're just talking about the basics of it, and then this week you can work on it, and next week will sound great. And then, because I want to spend a little bit more time on Piano Man. So, Sweet Caroline, C, F, G, G7. There's a C6 in there. You don't worry about that. That's just a C chord. And then Yeah, that's it. There's nothing here. Okay, no wonder it's popular in Boston. Okay. Okay. This song has a bit of a beat to it, right? Right, boom, boom, boom. So you kind of want to try to mimic that. Not when you're learning it. When you're learning it, you take your time. Just find your notes. Where it began, bum, 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 bum. Triplet. I can't begin to know you. Strum. Triplet. C chord. Bum, 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 bum. A lot of times in arrangements, I should stop here and talk about this really quick. Measure 10. Most of the time, right, when I'm doing arrangements and I see a C chord, 0, 0, 0, 3, right? Just in your sleep, right? But it's okay also to put just 0, 0, 3 sometimes, which is, and in this case, the melody is there. That's why that's there. But not uncommonly, I'll just lay out my ring finger to cover both of those. Okay, and you get you still a C chord. It's just a little bit fancier C chord. So if you do both threes, fancier C chord than this C chord. Okay. Here's why. And we're really comfortable with hearing this in an age of electric guitars. If you cover both of these, look at what your notes are. G string open, C string open. This is a G note, and then this is a C on the top string. Okay, so you get G, C, G, C. Very stable, very powerful. We actually call them a power chord. If you ever plug in your ukulele, you're going to be wanting to do more power chords because amplifiers are very cool. If you put a C and a G together, that's the first and the fifth, and don't worry about that. But yeah, it's very happy handling stuff like that. When you start adding in extra notes, amplifiers have to make all this calculations and do all this other stuff, and pretty soon you can get kind of a muddy feel to stuff. And it's why a lot of music you see that's been written on an electric guitar will have a ton of power chords in them just on accident because it sounds cooler coming out of your amplifier. All right, so that's what's going on in 10 is I'm doing the melody note, and then just probably laziness, just roll down your pinky there to get that 3. You don't need to do that the 3 on the third beat there, but it sounds kind of cool. All right, keep going. Measure 11. Ready? Play. And spring became the summer strum. Da da dum. You really use those triplets to your advantage. Dum 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 dum. So you see how long that. If we were doing Tin Pan Alley, we'd have 17 chords in that 2 measures there. Doing some fancy turnaround jazz, the same thing. We do tons of chords in there. This is folk music, right? One same chord, just sort of fancied up. Okay, and then we get this weird bridge section he does. Hands dun dun dun. 1, 2, 3, 4. Touching hands. Dum 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 dum. Reaching out, dum 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 dum, touching me. Okay, now see what he does here. It's so smart, such smart songwriting. You've got this little whatever intro, right? Blah blah blah. Now we're gonna build up to the chorus. Hands, bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum, right? Touching hands, bum bum, reaching out, right? Getting bigger, touching me, touching, and you get all the way to the G chord, right? You get this huge chord at the end. And probably these days, if I was arranging it, I'd probably put a high G7 there instead of the low G7, just to keep that upward momentum. You're really building into the chorus here. So as a musician, as a ukulele player, you're thinking, I want to start off 17 kind of quiet, kind of simple, and then be building up both in terms of complexity and in volume until you get to the end of 26. Blam! Okay, and then we have the fun part, right? So at 27, and here again, so many people know this song that you're sort of stuck with playing it the way everybody sings it now. 27, and you notice there's a sigma there, your senyo. You know you're coming back there at some point. Ready? Play. Isn't that fun? I mean, it works, right? And I would say that section there, so good, so good, so good, right? That's why that's there. It's not because it doesn't. And then keep going. Again, smart songwriting. Get it up there, da-da-da, do all this stuff, and then bring it back down. Now, we have some confusing repeats here, and these days I'd write this a little bit differently, but I told you what to do in the lyric line. So at the end of that lyric line, go back to number 1, right? And play it all again. Not hard to play, particularly. Second verse, it says go to number 27. That's your DSL coda. So now 27 is where that senyo is. You're going to play to the coda. So at 27, now you play down to the coda, which shows up at the end of 16. And then I told you right in the lyrics there, go to number 39 on the third time. Okay, so once you get to the end of 36, then, and this is the, you're just doing the Sweet Caroline thing one more time. And then, 8, 7, 5, 3, and then jump over to 39, high G7. Okay. And then you gotta let that ride the full 4 beats. Don't get in a hurry. Dramatic, right? 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So it's what's on paper here is really, really close to what people are doing with this song these days. It's not what he did. It's not what he did. It's not what he did. But it is the way people sing this these days. And so drama, schmaltzy, whatever, right? So work on that this week. I don't think there's every single thing we talked about in the first song shows up in this song. The only different chord here is at 38 you have your E minor. I always put on, when I see 0, 3, 4, I always put on a full E minor. And then just rest stroke there so I don't hit that top string. That way I don't have to think, right? The less thinking you have to do, the more likely you're going to get music just come sneaking out of there. So, yeah. So there's Sweet Caroline. We'll just do it on ukulele today. Baritone players, yours will be the same, and it'll be fun. Let's spend a little bit of time talking Piano Man. We only have about 10 minutes, and it's probably, I'm going to guess, going to be the one you're going to have to put the time in on. So, Piano Man in the key of F, right? You know when you see F, here comes B flat. Just comes along for the ride every time. There's never going to be, there's very rare when you're playing the key of F, you don't see B flats. And as high level ukulele players, you're like, yeah, it's B flat, whatever, right? I already had it in the book. And it's 5 pages long. Right? So you're going to be seeing plenty of B flats. And also, you guys know through this group, right, when you are in strum along group, they say, here's B flat, okay, just play with a half bar, right, and that's it. And it's going to sound like this, okay, and try to make it better. That's the advice you get at strum along. Here, I'm saying, you should probably use a full bar more than a half bar, even though I often will grab a half bar because of my training in Wisport. But use a full bar here because guess what? You have this other B flat up here, right? And so it's just better if you don't have to reconfigure everything If you're going to be using bars, use them. Right? On a ukulele. Now that's not necessarily true on all of the instruments, but I do think, geez, if you got to do a bar on this instrument, probably just get comfortable with the full bar. Get comfortable with that sound. You're going to make it. Let's talk about the structure of the song and things you're going to run into. So, have the intro, right? And it's in 3, which is weird, but that's what he did. 2, B flat, B flat, and here again, Tuff uke is actually easier than the actual chord. This one, if it says 3, 2, 1, I don't put a bar on. Treat it just as any other open chord. And so those eighth notes there are pretty fast, and you'll remember from the song. That's super cool there, right? And again, those cool moments when you see all those chords in a row, when you're a strummer, you hate that, right? Bum, 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 and you're like, that's a lot of work for nothing. But as Tuff uke and as instrumentalists, that's where the meat and potatoes is. Okay, bum, bum. Music theory pieces stuff here. You know you're in an F, right? F, G, A, B flat, right? He's coming along for the ride because he's 1 and 4. He's for sure going to be showing up in any song when you start in F. And then C is hanging out over here. And whenever you put the 7th, so the C is here and you put the 7th on, that's going to be these moments of wham, wham, right? So you're going to be tension, release, okay? And they call it a cadence. Okay? That whole moment is let that live in the music. Don't try to get through 7th chords. 7th chords are super important. Then, there's your first note of the melody. Grab your F chord with your C on the top. Lose your index. Index finger grabs that. B flat. B flat. 2, 3. Okay, 2. B flat. Here's a B flat where you only get 2 notes here, so make sure not to make your top string too loud. So you already learned, hey, here's this section I'm going to have to probably not memorize, but have a pretty good ability to look away from my sheet music in order to get, we've already had this theme show up twice now at 29, 30, and 31. That's it. So we've already seen it a couple of times. So get where you can. Okay, pluck it, strum it. Doesn't matter. Whatever you think is going to be work for you. But those notes. There's a lot of them. They're going to come by pretty quick, right? Okay, measure 32.5. Let's go from there. 1, 2. By the way, this line here, son, can you play me a melody? I'm not really sure how it goes, right? But it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it couldn't play when I wore a younger man's clothes. That will, once you start performing, that will happen to you. People come up to me all the time. Hey, do you know this song? You're like, no. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're like, oh, but it goes like this. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Please go sit down. How? Okay, measure 40.5. Cool. So he's slowed the music way down. Close, 2, 3, bum, 2, 3. Now we're going to switch into the minor feeling by going up here to this D minor. Bar on 5, ring on 7, and then be ready with your pinky, because you know that anytime you hold that shape, there's a really good chance your pinky is going to come into play here. Okay? That's pretty hard to play there. Now here's your B flat. Just add your middle finger. Now this looks a mess, but it's just your high G7. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Page 4. 2, 3. Then we'll sing the main idea again. 3. Again, there's that little piece that you got to basically memorize. You're going to go back, pierce 3 times, right? So all the way back to the top. I'm sorry, not to the top, to measure 15. Again, I put a highlighter on measure 15 because your eye is going to track to measure 1 unless you remember, hey, my eye needs to be on measure 15. Now, those of you guys on book, right, you got to switch pages. That's just part of being a musician, right? You're like, oh, God, I'm on to page 4 before I have to do my repeat. So you see a lot of musicians will have this giant bunch of music stands in front of them. And I would say, oh, thanks, Kat. Did she sneak out? I didn't even know she was here. I love Kat. 1, 2, 3 times around, all over 4 pages. You're going to be turning pages a lot. And this is the secret, right? Go out and earn $1,000. I guess it's probably $2,000 and get yourself an iPad. Honestly, it's changed my life. I know a lot of you are like, I don't want to bring in a bunch of technology. I'm just having fun with ukulele. But yeah, otherwise you got to turn pages. If you're playing in your basement, that's fine. It's when you're starting to get this good that you're like, I might want to play this for somebody, and then that page changing thing is a huge problem. And so start saving now for some technology to help you with that. You don't need an iPad, honestly. You could just use one of the cheaper like the Samsung one or whatever they are. I don't know what they are. I bought an iPad because I knew that that's what everybody was using and their ridiculous price on them. But so that way, obviously if you're on pages, you got to switch back to page 1, forward, all kind of a bummer. Then let's go on to measure 79. Let's finish out the song from 79. 1, 2, 3. Notice it says tempo. You sort of slow it down in 79, then pick it the speed up again. Here it is again. Make those big. It's a weird B flat. Just don't make sure you hit the top string, but don't hold it down. G minor 7, 2, 3. That's a really nice arrangement of this, and the whole thing works, right? You gotta focus in on a couple of little things, but honestly, not that Nothing in here that's super crazy to play. That little D minor section where you're having to tuck your pinky under, that's going to be pretty hard to get clean, pretty sound out of it, but you can do it. And that's it. That's what I know about piano and baritone. Yours guys will look the same. I think you got 3 really solid pieces of music for the week. I don't think I would change anything about either any of those arrangements. Well, maybe a little bit, right? Maybe a little bit, but not much. And they work. They make you sound good. Questions, comments, or concerns? It's 10 o'clock. I gotta let you go. Cannot believe how many. Yeah, so Linda points out, hey, I can't believe how I go to groups and they have this massive binder, right? Well, the reason that happens, and believe me, I did it too. You go on the internet and you print out 400 songs, right? And you're in your binder, and you carry them around like you're going to play them. We have one person in our orchestra. She carries 3 binders around, and they're thick, right? So now all of a sudden you have to have this really super high quality music stand just to hold your binder. What's the truth? How many songs are you really going to play? You're not going to play the entire history of music. You're going to be working on 3, maybe 4 songs at a time. If you're in our orchestra, you notice we have 8 songs. We spent 15 weeks on them. I mean, honestly, you don't need to carry all those songs around, and you're really creating a situation where you can't win with all of that music. Get good at a small number of songs. You don't need to have every song. If you go to the strum along, right, you go play those songs, then take them out of your binder and put them in a pile. That pile just slowly grows over time, and you think, I want to go back and play that funny Hawaiian song we learned. I want to go play it. You're never going back to do that, right? Because you got more music coming in all of the time. And please don't print the internet. Honestly, it's going to be better 6 months from now. It is so much better now than when I started playing. It's ridiculous. Like, it is amazing, and it's always going to be there. You're not. I mean, until they decide to cancel the internet, you're always going to be able to go out and find stuff, and it's always going to be there. Vic and I were working on a song this week, Unchained Melody, and she sent it to me, and I'm like, I need to check a couple of things from the original sheet music. I'm probably going to have to go buy it. So I type in Unchained Melody sheet music, and the very first link is the original sheet music for free, just hanging out on the internet. It's not supposed to be there. It's a copyright violation. But I did. But that's the world we live in. We're like, you do not need to print these things out. And put them in your computer if you have to put them in there, and leave them in there. But printing is just, you're just going to carry around a whole bunch of music you're not going to play, and you think that you need to have that as reference or something, or like, I worked on this, so I'm going to keep it in this binder. I'm really not a fan of that at all. You know, have your binder to just the songs you're physically actually playing at that moment. Everything else you'll get to, and you'll be surprised at how much music you never get to. I've been playing for 20 years. I wanted to do Unchained Melody since year 1, right? I'm finally getting it done because of Vic wrote it out. So yeah, 20 years later, I'm finally getting around to a song that I would have been carrying around back and forth everywhere for no reason whatsoever. So clean your binders out. Just the songs you're working on. Just the songs you're working on. If you're not working on it, it goes in a separate binder that sits on a shelf. You're never going back to it probably. All right, there's my diatribe. All right, guys. So good to play at this level. So good to see all of you guys. This music is amazing stuff, and even if you're not a Neil Diamond fan or a Billy Joel fan, go listen to the originals on YouTube, just to remind you what you're dealing with, and then go in and turn these songs into your songs. I think both of these songwriters are really well thought of, so I think you're not wasting any time with them at all. Linda says, I belong to 7 groups and each has a big book, and you need them. I have all of them on my iPad. iPad, right? There's your answer, iPad. Then you don't have to carry those around. I used to carry around giant volumes everywhere, and I got this, and when I got this, I thought all those years of carrying those binders around was crazy. It's not like I'm going to quit music, right? If you're at this level, if you're in book 3 around here, you're not quitting, right? You know you're going to be playing for the rest of your life on lots of different instruments, and ukulele will probably always be a central part of who you are and what you're doing. So get the tools necessary to make it easy on yourself. Let's see. I went through a lot of magic tape, so I didn't have to turn pages. Yeah, yeah. And you won't meet anybody who has a tablet that's like, gosh, I wish I could go back to the days of chopping songs up and taping stuff down and all of that. It is a way to do it. It absolutely works. It's just way far away from the best way to do it. So, and that's one of the things I think that we should talk about always around here is, hey, here's how I'm doing it. How can I do it better? Or, am I doing this the best way? Is there a better way? Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes we're doing it the best way. So, I've only used an iPad for 15 years. Yeah, right. The day they came out, I should have thought, hey, that would be good for music, right? That's what I should have thought. And you know what I really thought? Oh, Apple Corporation. That's a bunch of malarkey. We don't need that. I have a computer on my desk, right? Yeah, just trust Apple Corporation. They're here to help us. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day, and I will see all of y'all down the road. Remember, orchestra, Monday night we have celebration. If you send in something, I will play it, right? And so that means you have to videotape this weekend. Ooh, scary. You can do it, right? Put something on video, send it in. It'll be fun. Also, then we're not doing the Tuesday, Thursday classes until June, and I'm not even sure what June will look like quite yet. I know for sure we'll continue the Monday sessions. That's going to be instructional this summer, and then I like this Friday morning class. I know a lot of people can't make the time slot, but at least we have it on video, and they can always come and double check it. And then I think that's it. I think that's what we need to know for now. Summer's going to be fun. I'm going to go through. I do the same basic workshops every summer, but each summer you get something a little different out of them, and those will be partly live and partly entirely online. Plus, some of that stuff will be live and in person here in Denver. So, if you happen to be scheduling a vacation and you're going through Denver, definitely let me know. Maybe we can have coffee. I think that's what I know. Yeah, that's what I know. Have a wonderful day, you guys. We'll see you soon. Peace.